Hi everyone, it's Leilani. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be working on the next 4 prompts in the Pieces of Joy album, and we will be completing it today. So it will feel really, really nice, I know, to get this book done. So if you don't know about the Pieces of Joy project and all of that, I will link a couple things below if you want to check that out from Allie Edwards. And also I will link my playlist, which has the first video for this project where we did the first 3 and I talk about the project a little bit more. And there's also some other projects in this same like umbrella of pieces of life or pieces of us. I'm not exactly sure what Allie calls it, but I'll link all that below. It'll be in the notes under the video. So if you want to check out anything further, you'll have all that information there. So the, I guess, 4th prompt in this little traveler's notebook is joy feels like. So again, I am using some mixed media papers that I created using some older Hobonichi paper. So I have an old Hobonichi notebook that I had years ago that I never completed, like before I was really into the Hobonichi. And instead of just letting it go to waste, I keep it on my little mixed media shelf, and I'll pull out some of the back papers that I didn't use. And they're so perfect to me for doing mixed media, especially like the jelly plates, because the paper is so thin. It's like deli paper. I think it's similar. So it just is really, really easy to add into projects. And I think it's so perfect for a traveler's notebook because the paper is crazy thin. So then you're not adding a ton of bulk to the traveler's notebooks. That's one thing that always like steers me away from traveler's notebooks is the like difficulty of documenting in them. For me, as I add things, it just becomes harder and harder to document. And so I do have photos printed off on regular photo paper, which is pretty thick. And I do add in a little bit more pattern paper and whatnot. But I just think that this Hobonichi paper kind of helps out. So you'll notice that the picture that I chose, this is one of mine and Will's wedding photos. So these were from way back in 2019. This year will actually be our 5-year wedding anniversary. So that's exciting. But this is one of my favorite photos of us. And I thought joy feels like, I just think for me that photo really encompasses what joy feels like. So I wanted to use this. I knew I wanted to use it. So I did take the background out so you can see that there's a light, like a very small white border on the photo. And that's just because I took the background out before I printed off my picture. You can do that just on the iPhone, or you can use an app like the Photo Room app, and you can take the background out and then print it off, and it's almost like a sticker. So I did that there. I printed it at pretty much I think a 4.2 by 8.2 size, and then just like placed it where I wanted. You'll notice that I kind of tricked the system there where I only used a little bit of my mixed media paper behind my photo. So I knew that I didn't need to fill up that whole page since my photo was going to take up the majority of the room, and I'm kind of running low on the mixed media papers. So I just like placed little pieces of the paper behind the photo, and then you can't even tell that actually the entire background is not one solid piece of mixed media paper. I hope that makes sense, but I'm sure you could tell as I was working on that side of the spread. So then I'm moving on over here to the right side. So I added another mixed media paper, and then I did add a piece of pattern paper from my stash. Now I'm going to add a couple pieces of my mixed media paper as we go. And then at one point I turned the camera off to like reprint something. And while the camera was off, I do very, very carefully like lift up my journaling that I'd already placed down on the paper. I lift it up and I add one other piece of the mixed media paper to that bottom corner because I just felt like this didn't look very good right here where I had the pattern paper and the mixed media mixed together. I didn't like it on here. So I don't change it on camera, like I said, but whenever I do the full flip through at the end, you'll see it. So I'm adding on a few little embellishments. Those stars are from Studio Calico. And then I have this really old Tim Holtz phrase booklet. And these are perfect for these types of projects to me. So I'm going to add on a couple of those. I'm going to freehand cut out a heart as well and put that into that top right area. And I'll go ahead and read you my journaling and just tell you a few things that I thought of for Joy Feels Like. So I said, joy feels like early morning snuggles with Will and the pups. Joy feels like that crisp air when the calendar changes over to fall. Joy feels like getting a big hug from a friend you've missed. Joy feels like seeing my mom smile on Saturday mornings. Joy feels like biting into a brand new batch of lemongrass tofu. Joy feels like Christmas time. So I just added a few random things. I was trying not to give myself to put too much pressure on myself for doing the journaling. I was just trying to kind of think of things that popped into my head for all of these prompts. So for me, that worked out perfectly. And then we're going to move on to the next one. So this all comes together pretty quickly because I'd already done my journaling. I'd already chosen my photos and I had everything here just waiting for me, which is my favorite way to get projects done, to print everything, cut out everything, type up my journaling, have it cut out and ready to go so then I can just assembly line the project and get everything done pretty quickly. So here I had a couple of pieces of the mixed media paper that matched. So it was like that pink with that kind of teal, not stamp, but stencil on top. So I add that over to the left side, and then I will continue and add some to the right side as well. So for this one, I just printed off just kind of a random photo of banana bread in my kitchen because that is going to be one of the smells that I mention in my journaling. So I had that. So I just thought that's a perfect picture, printed it off where I knew that it would be oversized and I could just kind of cut it to fit and add it over there to that left side. Here you'll see I'm really trying to ration the mixed media paper. So I folded the Hobonichi page in half. The Hobonichi pages are like the pretty much exact height of this traveler's notebook. So I folded it in half so I would know where to cut it. I cut it down the middle so then I could add it to the top and the bottom of the like above and below my prompt there. So then the prompt will still show, but above it and below it, I'll have the mixed media paper. So that's what I'm doing there. I'll add a few embellishments and stuff as we go, and I'll go ahead and read you this journaling as well. So I said, joy smells like. Joy smells like banana bread baking in the kitchen. Joy smells like walking into a bookstore. Joy smells like a freshly scrubbed house and clean laundry. Joy smells like Will trying out a new yummy recipe. Joy smells like pine trees and cinnamon. And joy smells like pumpkin spice all throughout the house in October. Some of my favorite smells. I love hearing people's favorite smells. And like I noticed with Allie Edwards, a lot of hers were like, I think she had like a flower on there. She had freshly cut grass. She had maybe like oranges or something, a lot of very summer smells to me. And I was curious if that was perhaps because that's what season we're in, or if that is truly like the smells that she enjoys the most. Because for me, I love those cozy holiday smells. That's like what really does it for me. So like I love things baking in the kitchen, like I said, or a home cooked meal, like when you're cozy at home. I just love those smells. And I also love the pine trees and the cinnamon just remind me of Christmas. And of course, pumpkin spice. I love all the pumpkin spice smells in my house during fall and Halloween. And that just makes me so excited. But I think my ultimate favorite smell is walking into a bookstore. I love just the smell of the books, the fresh books. I love that smell. So let me know what are some that you would put, like your top scents. What would you put on your list, or what did you put if you did this project? So here you'll see that I'm doing the same thing. I'm using some of those really fun like journaling blobs, I guess. Those are from Studio Calico, like the mustard yellow color there. This one says, when you focus on the good gets better. And I just love these little guys. I randomly got them from Studio Calico in a haul recently, and I think that they're so fun and they've really come in clutch during this project. So super fun for me. And then I'm adding a few of the sentiments that I thought worked pretty well. And then I also freehand cut out 3 different hearts out of just some of the scrap paper and popped those into place. I love the way that one looks. So this next one is a little bit different. So this is the only one that I did not use any mixed media paper, but I really wanted to try out something that I noticed Allie doing in her album, which was doing like a full-size photo that stretched both the left and the right side of the traveler's notebook. So I thought that that would be really fun. So what I did was, this is for Joy Sounds Like. So I found a concert photo that was a landscape. So there was a lot of background there. You can see I have Jenny Lewis there in the middle, who is my all-time favorite singer. And then I was able to print off, I actually printed this photo in half. So I just went on my computer. This is totally a very not precise way to do this, but I have this picture on my computer and I just cropped it right there on the computer. I honestly just guesstimated. I cropped pretty close to Jenny so that there was a lot of like just blank space there on the left side of Jenny's body so that I could fill in that whole side. And then I printed it. Then I restored the photo and then recropped it and did the same thing for the right side of the photo. So then I just have like her drummer and the other part of the photo. So it's not perfectly split in half, but I don't think that you can tell. So I really like the way that that ended up looking. I did the same thing where I cut half of it on that right side to fill in the top, cut half of it to fill in the bottom. So then you can still read the prompt, Joy Sounds Like. Although I noticed on Allie's, she like only had just that little prompt poking through. And I was like, dang, I want to do that. So what I did was I took a little piece of the scrap off of the photo that I had printed, and then I just pop it into place here. That's what I'm doing now. So then it doesn't match perfectly, but I don't think it's something that you can truly tell. So I think that it works out fine. And then it looks like my photo spans that entire both sides of the spread. So I kind of just completely did that in a really crafty way and just tried to do it the best I could. So it is in no way perfect, but it works good enough for me. I like these kind of projects where everything does not have to be perfect. And that's what it's kind of meant to be messy and fun. That's how I feel about these traveler's notebooks. So for this one, I used one of those, the same little color blobs from Studio Calico, and I went ahead and popped my journaling inside of it. So all my journaling I'm printing off, and I'm using transparent sticker paper. This is the first time that I've used that. I've been wanting to buy it for so long, so I'm really excited, and I absolutely love the way that it looks. So I just added the sticker paper right into that little blob there, and then I added it actually to the top because the lower portion had the whole drum set, and I didn't want to cover that up. And since there's no longer like it no longer really matters where I put the journaling because I just have this full photo. So I felt like that worked perfectly. Added my journaling to the top, added in a few little star embellishments, some of those chipboard pieces from Studio Calico. And then I also have been using just some of my little gold stars that I punch out just of gold paper with a hole punch or a star punch. So I added those on and put a couple more of those Tim Holtz tiny phrases, and there you have it. That one's done. So then for the last prompt here, I didn't even read you my journaling. Let me read you Joy Sounds Like really quick. Joy sounds like Will's voice telling me all about his day. Joy sounds like chatting with a friend, making up for lost time. Joy sounds like Penny squeaking her new ball for hours, loving every second of it. Joy sounds like listening to a new episode of my favorite podcast, Cool Kids Club. Joy sounds like turning on a familiar show for the 100th time. Joy sounds like Jenny Lewis and Sam Cooke. Joy sounds like belting out the lyrics to a favorite song as loud as possible in the car. One of my favorite things to do for sure. And now we are moving on to the last prompt, which is a joy-filled memory. So for this one, I printed off a couple different photos from mine and Will's most recent trip to New York last year. So we went to this really cool, it was like almost like a art exhibit kind of thing mixed with like, I don't know what you call it, but one of those like big tall buildings where you can pay and go see the crazy view of the city. So you got to see the view, but also as you were looking out of like all of these windows and we were up crazy, crazy, crazy high, they also had like different art pieces and things that you could look at as well. So in this one room, they had all of these silver balls. They were almost like balloons, but you couldn't really pop them. They were just like really thin plastic maybe. And so they were so cool because there were vents on the floor and maybe on the ceiling. So the balloons were just flying everywhere and you could hit them in the air, but you could also, you see that they're kind of like mirrors. So because you could see through them. So you can see here, I was able to like take a selfie inside of one and it was just like such a cool experience. So I thought that these would be fun to print off. So I printed off a larger photo to go on the left side. So that's like one of the balls just like really big with my selfie inside of there. So you can see I'm holding my camera phone. And then on the right side, here's another picture of me. So I again just took the background out of the photo so I could have this picture of me and I'm hitting one of the balls up in the air. I cut the ball in half so I could have it in a couple of different areas. And then I will also add a few other embellishments and things as we go. So here for the bottom, I wanted to add a little bit more of the mixed media paper. So I'm adding that on and then I'll pop my journaling on top. So I'll go ahead and read my journaling to you. So for this one, I said, a joy-filled memory. I'm a true lover of everyday life, normal days around the house, but some of my most joy-filled memories do take place during our trips away. This past October in 2023, Will and I took our first trip together to New York City, and I swear every moment was magic. I loved walking the streets, so many sights and sounds, taking it all in, trying new foods, and having new experiences in the big city. Sharing it all with my favorite person, every second was completely joy-filled. So I didn't go into crazy detail, but it definitely brings back the memory of going to New York last year. And it was kind of the first thing that I thought of. So I just went with that memory because it was just super, super special. So I added that journaling on. You can see I popped one of the tiny phrases like above my journaling because I had a little extra space. And then here I wanted a few more of the balls or like the look of the balls on like in this little 4x4 area. So I just took some of my pattern paper scraps and I cut out, just freehand cut out a few circles. And then I added those on, kind of cut them in half, different things like that. And then I just added my little border around it with my pen. I'm going to add on a few gold stars. We'll be back in frame soon. And then we will be done with this one. I am going to add a few other tiny phrases underneath the big photo here just to fill in the space. I love that this Tim Holtz book has the white and the black phrases. I'm totally going to have to get these again because I haven't had this book like or used it in probably years, but pulling it back out, I'm like, oh yeah, it is a really, really good thing to have on hand. I'm sure they have them on Amazon, so I'm going to have to grab another one. And then there you have it. This book is all finished. So I'm going to give you a bit of a up close flip through of the pages that we worked on today. I just feel so good to have this book completed. It was such a fun project to work on, to think about all these little memories and to just get messy and almost create a little mini art journal of sorts. It was so fun. I hope that you guys enjoyed following along with me in these videos. If you did, please give me a like and please also consider subscribing. And of course, I will be back at you super soon with another video. Now, before we finish, I am going to stamp the date. I always do this at the very front of the album so I can remember when I worked on it. So we'll say May of 2024. Have a great day, friends. Bye, y'all.